Welcome to the Business of Craft podcast presented by Stitchcraft Marketing. For nearly 16 years, we've taught retailers, manufacturers, and makers in the craft space how to thrive. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And if you like what you hear, leave a review to help others find our content.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Business of Craft. I'm your host, Leanne Pressly, and in this season, we're going through our book, Marketing Magic for Savvy Craft Businesses, and giving you just a small teaser snippet of what's in those chapters. Of course, I hope you get a copy of your paperback, which you can do at our website, stitchcraftmarketing.com. So today we are talking about the chapter on advertising. And I know this, could be such a long episode. So again, we're just going to give you a little preview and a snippet. And I would encourage you to do the deep dive through the book. So let's just talk about big picture. I think a lot of our clients really overlook advertising as a way to boost some sales. They feel like it's intimidating. They're going to need big budgets. It's complicated to understand the jargon. And of course, they need a partner to be able to do some of the technical parts of purchasing ads, which of course you can learn on your own, or you can hire someone like Stitchcraft to help you with placing those ads. So of course, with everything in marketing, you've heard me say this 100 times before, but you really have to know your audience so that your ads are hitting the right people in the right place, right? The worst thing we can do is throw mud up on the wall where we're spending thousands of dollars every month and wasting that money because we're in the wrong place, sending the wrong message, or we're targeting the wrong people. So I do have a few ideas for you on how to identify that first step. So of course, you're going to know who your customer avatar is. And if that's a new term for you, I would encourage you to go back to earlier episodes of Business of Craft, where we talk for the whole episode on just what your avatar is. Once you've got that in place, of course, now you're going to start looking at some of the different options for advertising. And I'll go over a few of them with you right now, just so that we get some of the jargon and the lingo out of the way. So first is going to be your behavioral and interest-based targeting. So that's going to be your platforms like Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, and Google, which will let you segment your audience by interest type. So that could be your crafters, your fiber people, your quilting people, etc. And we love that because it is super specific and allows you to really get more from your budget because you're being so strategic and targeted with your approach. The next one is retargeting. And this is a type of advertising for people who have visited your website but didn't take action. Maybe they were just the looky-loos. And you're giving them this gentle nudge to come back into your world. And I think from the consumer side, all of you have probably seen retargeting ads. The example I always give is, if I go over to Zappos, for example, and I'm looking at shoes, and then I bounce back over to some other site, let's say a news site or somewhere else on the internet, then the ads that are on that site are actually the same shoes that I was looking at. So that is an example of specific retargeting. And you're probably wondering, oh my gosh, well, how did they know I was looking at those shoes? Well, marketing's pretty sophisticated these days. And so that retargeting is one way they do that. So they're putting a little pixel or a little snippet of data that knows you were looking at those shoes, and then it shows you that ad later on. And retargeting does have a very high success rate. So you would do that with your content. Email audience targeting is where you can upload your customer list and then run ads directly to them or lookalike audiences who mirror them. So of course, we know like Facebook, for example, people usually use the same email address for the newsletter signups as for their Facebook login. And so again, the data on the back end merges those together. It matches that up and it says, oh, well, Leanne is this email address and she used it here on this site to sign up for the newsletter. And then also this is the same email she uses for signing into Facebook. And so that's how they match it up. They know that I'm on your newsletter. So when you upload your newsletter, and you can say to Facebook, I only want you to show this ad to people that are on my newsletter, it knows, right? It matches up those names. And then again, it can be really efficient, because if you're trying to grow your newsletter list, you don't want to advertise to people that are already on the list. You want to tell Facebook, just advertise to people that are not on the list. And so that can really help you grow that list. You can also do what we call an exclusion audience, where you're saying, I only want you to advertise to the people that are on this list. Or not on this list. So an inclusionary list or an exclusionary list, those are both available. And that can be helpful. So let's say you want to advertise just to the people that are on your list with some special offer. Facebook will only show it to those people based on the file that you've uploaded. Geotargeting and geofencing is another one that we use quite often. And that is where you want to show ads to people at a local event. So let's say you are wanting to target people at a quilt show or a fiber festival. You go in and draw a virtual boundary around that event and at that time. And then you deliver ads to people that have their location services turned on. And this is going to be an ad mostly on their mobile device. So this can be really fantastic. Again, let's say that you are a local shop in Paducah, and during the off season, when the Paducah Quilt Show is not in town, you still want to market to those people. You go back to the dates where Paducah was in town. You do a virtual border around the event, the place where it's held, and you can target them. Another example would be Stitchcraft marketing, targeting exhibitors at H&H Americas. So we know when that show is, we know the convention center that it's in, we know the dates that exhibitors are setting up. And so we can do a super specific targeted approach to just finding those people that are there on setup day. And we know that they're craft people because they're setting up for the convention. So geofencing and geotargeting can be also very effective. And then we do a lot of Google ads. Search is very powerful. So on Google, this of course is where you would appear as the top sponsored ad. And you're putting in your keywords. And again, you're setting some parameters so that you're targeting just those people that are searching for those products. And that can also make your ad dollars go a little further. Hey there, everybody. It's Leanne Pressly with Stitchcraft. I just wanted to share with you a new announcement we have about a brand new community that we're launching in 2025. Crafting's always been about community. So why do less than 20% of craft business owners feel a sense of community with other owners in the craft industry? And that data point comes directly out of our research. We're so busy creating strong communities for our customers that we always forget we need the same level of support and guidance and camaraderie that we have curated for our customers. So our SCM, Stitchcraft Marketing, members only, provides an exclusive, dedicated online space for individual and group mentorship, marketing exercises, specialized courses, accountability, and encouragement to help you level up your skills as a craft business owner. The whole community is going to be guided by the marketing professionals that run Stitchcraft Marketing, who, as you know, also love crafting. We are knitters, we're crocheters, we're sewists, we're quilters, we're garment makers. And we've been there in the trenches struggling along with our clients. And so we know what you're seeking as a business owner. If you are a small craft business owner juggling all of those responsibilities to run your business, this community is absolutely for you. Each month, Members Only is going to focus on a different topic related to running an efficient craft business. We'll have coursework, classes, opportunities for personalized coaching and mentorship. So check it out. It's going to be at our website, stitchcraftmarketing.com, and you'll see the tab at the top for Members Only. Hope to see you in there. So I like to say for your budgets, we get a lot of questions about budgets. You don't need a 6-figure budget, but you will need some sort of budget. Now, what we've been doing this for years and years and years, and we work with a lot of small clients. And so, if you've just got a couple $100s, you might start with something like boosting on Facebook or like some of the smaller entry level methods to do advertising. But if you really want to get serious about this, I'd recommend somewhere around a $1,500 a month budget to do some advertising and be able to do some testing to see what platforms are working best for you. So we usually will explore things like Instagram stories and Reels ads, Google search, display ads, Pinterest shopping ads, YouTube pre-roll ads, which is the video that plays before the video, and some shorts ads. Some of those are really, really effective for our clients. And then, of course, we have programmatic, which I'll talk about in a minute. So again, your budgets, if you want to do a smaller budget, you're going to have to do some entry level methods there. And it's probably more DIY where let's say you go in and figure out how to do Google search ads and try that out. Or you can do the larger budgets for a smaller period of time. So let's say you've got some really cool stuff coming out for Black Friday. You can just do ads for, let's say, 2 or 3 months leading up to that and put that $1,500 budget to work for a better return on that investment. Okay, let's talk about programmatic. This is going to be one of those fancier sounding words that you're going to see, like I just mentioned, the geofencing and the programmatic ads. So programmatic are ads that are automatically placed on your target audience's behavior. So let's say, for example, someone's reading your DIY blog and then they suddenly see your ad for a new quilting pattern on the completely unrelated site, right? We just talked about that. And from a consumer perspective, this can feel a little creepy, but from a marketing perspective, it's a fantastic tool. And then, like I just mentioned, geofencing is where they're using the GPS targeting to target your users within a virtual perimeter. So you're geofencing around a fiber arts festival, and everyone inside that radius will see your ad. All right, the other piece about the programmatic advertising is it's somewhat automated. So you're going into a bidding system, you're paying a certain amount of money for that ad. And working with an agency, we'd be able to help you with that. And in fact, we just manage the whole thing for you. So you would give us that budget, and then we would move you into programmatic advertising so that budget is working the best towards you to buy the keywords and the types of ads that are the most effective for the goals we're trying to achieve. So we might have a mix of trying to target some lower priced ads, and depending on what you're offering, we might spend a little bit more money on higher priced bidded keywords in order to achieve a certain goal. So we talked a little bit about your ad budget, and I think there are some ways you can stretch that budget. So of course you want to look at your high ROI platforms. For craft businesses, that's going to be your Facebook, your Instagram, your Pinterest, and your YouTube, which tend to offer the best return. As always, you've heard me say this once. If you've heard me say it 100 times, make sure you're looking at your analytics. After you do an ad campaign, go back in and see what your KPIs are, your key performance indicators. You want to look at your cost per click, your conversion rates, your click-through rates, so that you know which types of ads and which campaigns and even which keywords are performing the best for you. The worst thing in the world is when I have clients that are just spending tons of money with no idea what's working for them and what's not working for them. We've got so much data for digital ads, which is why it's one of the most effective tools. So don't overlook the opportunity to keep your finger on the pulse of your data so that you're continually optimizing your ad spend. And again, if you work with us, one of the things we do is provide you with a monthly check-in where we go over all of the ads in your campaign, and we have all of the analytics reports for you that show exactly, if you spend $1 here and you made $7 from that, of course, you're going to do that all day long. And if we do see some poor performers, we'll pivot that money back into somewhere else. But if you don't look at your analytics, you really have no idea what's doing well for you. The other really important piece that you need to have in place is to make sure you are capturing those conversions. So a lot of you that are working with, Shopify or WooCommerce, or, even this is possible on your Facebook pages, to be putting those pixels in place and those UTM codes and those other tracking tools so that you can definitively say, this person came to this post or this place and they saw this ad and then they purchased this product and then that generated X amount of dollars in sales. That's the way that you really want to go about this, so that without a doubt, you know where those sales are coming from. Okay, so as far as building your strategy for the long haul, of course, you're going to want to target those platforms that are doing the best for you. And then you're going to invest in those platforms that are creating the greater conversions. And you're going to do that by looking at your analytics. You can also segment your audiences so that returning customers are seeing one message, and then those new leads will bring them to deeper into the funnel or to another phase of your marketing campaign. And then lastly, I want to just talk about AI. This is always something that comes up, and I know a lot of clients are curious about how you can utilize AI in your digital ad efforts. And you can, as always, I caution too heavily relying on AI to do your marketing work, because it's still in the early stages. It's still making a lot of mistakes. And so at this point, we're still advising that you utilize it in brainstorming, creating outlines, generating some ideas for you, creating multiple ad variations. You can have it do A/B testing for you. You can have it draft some short form copy, but just remember not to rely 100% on AI. It really doesn't know your customers as intimately as you do, and it really does not understand the nuances of your brand voice, your product quirks, and most importantly, our community vibe, right? We are a handmade community. We are an industry that values something creative made by a human being. So too much reliance on AI is going to get you into trouble in our industry. And so that's always my caution with using AI. Okay, that is the short and sweet episode that we have for you today. If you are interested in learning more about how digital advertising can benefit your business, you can reach out to us. We have a contact form at stitchcraftmarketing.com. And as always, you can go deeper into this topic with our book, Marketing Magic for Savvy Craft Businesses, which is available on our website, stitchcraftmarketing.com/magic. And thanks for listening today, and we'll see you on the next episode of Business of Craft. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Business of Craft. Hey, before you go, don't forget about all of our free resources, including our monthly Magic newsletter, our twice monthly blogs, our free live monthly office hours where you can jump on, learn a topic, and get a little bit of free consulting, our executive summary of the 2023 research for craft retailers that you can download directly from our website. And we have a lot of tutorial videos as well as recordings of all of our past office hours on our YouTube channel. So find all those resources at our website, stitchcraftmarketing.com. And on our website, you can also purchase a copy of our book, Marketing Magic for Savvy Craft Businesses, in Kindle, paperback, or audio format. See you next time.